Hi, I'm Drew. I'm going to be talking about a fun little app that I made called FootyText. Essentially, you text it a team name from the Premier League, and it will send you stats like this regarding their most recent game. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a huge soccer fan, so this was a lot of fun to make, and let's get going. Side note, Arsenal was absolutely robbed in this game, but that's beside the point. So I'm using a CPaaS service for this called Telnix and their SDK. Essentially, you sign up for a phone number, set up a messaging profile, and set up a webhook to hit your application. I'm also using this API called API Football for all of the information regarding the soccer itself. If someone texts our Telnix phone number, Telnix is going to send us some JSON in the form of a post. So I've got a route set up for my messages controller with a create method. This is the messages controller. It could probably be cleaned up a little bit, but this was the very last thing I did and by far the toughest challenge with the whole thing. So I'm just going to leave it for the sake of doing this video because it's getting kind of late. So it originally looked like this. And basically what we're doing is we're parsing through the JSON when we get back. We're either finding or creating a contact with the phone number, and then we're going to create a contact message from that phone number and with the body of what they text us. So the reason I had some issues with it and had to add in these guards is the if statement. I had to check for inbound messages. It turns out with the Telnix SDK, the outbound messages have the exact same webhook address. So if you don't do something like this, and there's probably a better way to do it that I just don't know about. This is my first time really working with webhooks, and definitely my first time working with CPaaS. But if you don't do this, the inbound and outbound messages just basically create an endless loop of sending text messages to yourself. So you don't want to do that. Telnix doesn't like that. They get mad at you and stuff like that. This second one, the webhook was still getting hit twice. And so when I texted my phone number for Telnix, it would text me back with the same soccer score twice. So I decided to add this SMS ID column, save it. Now, if we've already gotten that text, we're just going to not do anything. This is our contact message model. We've included a FootyText module that's got some helper methods for each team. We've got access to text, contact. Perhaps most importantly, we've got our after create active record callback that will respond to every message as soon as we get it in. So the first thing we want to do is find out which team the user is looking for. It's going to search through the CSV file that I've got using that helper method. The CSV file's got just a list of each team name in the Premier League as well as the method names for each of those teams. If it doesn't find a team, it will use this team codes method from that module, and that basically says, hey, can you please send us a team name, please? And if it does find a team, it's going to send the method for that team. So let's say a user texts us the word Arsenal. We're going to eventually hit this module. FootyText, we're going to try to find a match, and we're going to do that with our footy facade, and we're going to get match info. Each team method has its corresponding ID from the API. Our footy facade is going to get the match info from the footy service. Once we have the match info, we can get the player info with that fixture ID that we get from that API call, and then we can make a new match object. This is the footy service. This one, we only want the most recent game, so we're just getting the last one, and then once we have the fixture ID, we can get this player info. We're using the Faraday gem to make all this happen. This match object that we're making, it's just a plain old Ruby object. It's not a model or anything. Once we have it, we're going to initialize with those two hashes that we get from the JSON from the API. It's going to give us access to the home team, away team, home score, away score, the status. In the example I showed, it was full time, but they've got like halftime. I think it updates live. We will find out. And then the player info. So once we have our match object in our FootyText module, we can do a dot format on it, call the format method, and that will give us our text. It's going to format it the way we want it. For the goals, it's going to call this format goals method, which is in turn going to call the goals. It's going to go through all the player info and find the players that scored greater than 0, so any goals, and then it's going to make a sentence out of them. After that, we've got that for our telnext message that we need to create as our text, and then we're almost done. Once we create the telnext message, we're going to take advantage of that telnext gem. We've got our variables stored in a YAML file so no one can see them. We've got our contact, we've got our text, and it's going to use that telnext gem to make the message happen, and it's going to send it once again with an after create active record callback. So I think that's it. If you got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If not, DM me if you want to try out the app. It's live. I don't want to post the phone number everywhere because with telnext I only get like 500 messages a day or something. So just going to kind of keep it between me and some friends for now. But if you want to use it, I'll probably give it to you. So just reach out to me. Thanks.